Plasmodroma, class Mastigophora, order Protomonodina, genus Trypanosoma, and species Gambians. Okay. So it's a hemoflagellate. That means it's a parasite present in the blood of the vertebrates. And the disease caused by trypanosoma is called as trypanosomiasis. Okay. So about 20 different species of trypanosoma are present, but only two, that is Trypanosoma cruzi and Trypanosoma brucei. These two are main organisms which cause disease in human beings. And each species can cause different diseases. Okay. So Trypanosoma cruzi, it causes American trypanosomiasis, okay, which is also called Chagas disease. Okay, this you can see in American continent, like Central and South Asian, South American tropics. Okay, and it is mainly spread by the bite of insects, which are known as kissing bugs. Okay, so this is one species. Then Trypanosoma brucei is another species which is responsible for African trypanosomiasis or sleeping sickness. So this is very commonly studied one. So this is mainly prevalent in African continent. So there are two forms of sleeping sickness, and again these two forms are caused by two different subspecies of Trypanosoma brucei. The one which occurs in East Africa or Rhodesia is caused by Trypanosoma brucei rhodesiensis, and this appears only for the short period of time. That's why it's called acute form. Okay, it's not very severe, only for short period. Then Western African region, so this which is called Gambian. So in that region, whatever the sleeping sickness which is caused, it is mainly by Trypanosoma brucei gambians. Okay, so it has different symptoms, but it can have for prolonged time because the symptoms appear slowly. Okay, and both are spread by the same fly, but only the region where it is occurring, where it is spreading, that different. So the excuse me, the fly here is tsetse fly. Okay, so there are several other diseases which are caused by trypanosoma, not only trypanosomiasis. So which occur in cattle and other organisms, which can cause economic loss in the farmers, because if cattle get affected, definitely it will affect the agriculture. So farmers will have more disadvantage with that. So now here for your text, so here Trypanosoma brucei gambians was discussed. So we will discuss that. So this was first discovered by David Bruce. That's why the name brucei, Trypanosoma brucei, was given in 1890, and it was suggested to be the cause of Nagana in Africa. Okay, and then Ford and Dutton in 1902 first reported the parasite in human beings. So earlier they thought only in the cattle this gets affected. Then they found that this parasite also affects human beings in Africa. Then Stephens and Phantom, these scientists in 1909, they discovered that this can occur in human beings in Rhodesia. Okay. Then in 1909, Clesney, he identified that there is an intermediate host in the life history of this trypanosomes, and that is the fly. And this trypanosoma species in the Sorry. Um, so here, um, this trypanosoma species in their life cycle exhibit different morphological forms. So it's called as polymorphic form. So these forms are named as the position of basal granule, parabasal granule, and the origin and course of flagellum. Okay, so you know flagellum is for the locomotion. So here, based on these positions, they change their forms. That's why they are called as polymorphic forms. So what are the different forms are? A mastigote, okay, which is called leishmanial form. Here the body is round or oval in shape with a nucleus. Then basal granule and parabasal granules are reduced and in front they are present in front of the nucleus. And flagellum is also reduced and it doesn't extend from the body because the more it is mainly for locomotion, right? So at this form it is not required. Then promastigote, which is called leptomonad form, where the body is elongated with the central nucleus and the basal granule and parabasal granules are anterior, that is anterior to nucleus, and a free flagellum originates from the basal granule and undulating membrane is absent. So the membrane is absent here. Epimastigote form. So here the body is short, elongate but stumpy, and the nucleus is central. At the center we have nucleus. Then basal granule and parabasal granules are present in front of the nucleus. Flagellum is arising from the basal granule, coming out at the anterior end. Undulating membrane is poorly developed. Then trypomastigote form or trypanosome form. This is a more mature form where the body is elongated and slender. Basal granule and parabasal granules are present near the posterior end, at the back end. Then the flagellum becomes free after emerging out from the anterior end, and undulating membrane is well developed. So these are the four different forms of trypanosoma, which they change according to their developmental stage. So here are the images. Now we discuss about habits and habitat. So this usually live as a parasite in blood, lymph, and cerebrospinal fluid of man. It when infects a human being, it usually infect the lymph nodes, okay, through lymphatics and invades bloodstream. So which is causing parasitemia, which is called as parasitemia. So in the blood we can see these parasites. Then it finally localizes in the brain. So that is very dangerous. So, and it is noted that African sleeping sickness is a disease of the central nervous system. Okay. Then morphology. So how it looks. So the Trypanosoma brucei gambians. So it exists in the trypanomastigate mastigote form. That is a matured form. What I discussed, the fourth one in human beings. It has elongated, spindle-shaped, flattened body, and the anterior end is pointed and the posterior end is blunt. So the length of this organism is 60 microns and width is 15 microns, and the body is covered with an elastic, strong circular pellicle. Pellicle is nothing but like insects will have a outer layer which is called pellicle, which is very thick, so which can protect it from the immune system, because this is right parasite, right? It has to enter the host. So it has to protect itself from the host immune reaction. Therefore, it will have the pellicle and the mouth is absent. Cytoplasm is divided into ecto and endoplasm, and the body is drawn out into a long, thin, lateral fin-like fold. Fins you can see in the fish, right? So such kind of folds we can see, which are called undulating membrane, and the nucleus is present at the center, which is large and round or disc shaped. And it means in some it is round, in some it is disc shaped. Okay, and the towards the posterior end of the body, there is a basal granule, or which is also called as blepharoplast. And behind this basal granule is a parabasal granule, which is called kinetoplast. Then a thin fibril, okay, called rhizoplast. It connects this basal and parabasal body. And the flagellum arises from this basal granule. It travels through the margin of this undulating membrane and comes out from the anterior end. Okay, this is mainly for the movement. And the cytoplasm is green color. It has green color granules, which are called as volatin granules. This is mainly for the because of the presence of the pigment. Okay, then this trypanosome form exhibits polymorphism. So I told you, like, it can appear in different forms. So parasites vary in different sizes and shapes at different stages of their development, of their existence. And the forms they appear in the body are mainly long, slender with a long free flagellum, short, thick or stumped. Sorry?
Nothing.
Yeah, any doubts?
No, no.
Okay, just a second. Yeah. So, it appears in different forms. One is long, slender with long free flagellum, and the next is short, thick form, okay, which have very small flagellum, and intermediate form, which is in between these two forms. Now we'll discuss about the life cycle. So it is digenetic, that is, it requires two hosts for their to complete its life cycle. Okay, it has so here one is primary vertebrate and the secondary invertebrate host. So the vertebrate host here is man, okay, game and domestic animals, and the invertebrate host is blood sucking fly. So whatever I told you previously. The parasite during its life cycle multiplies itself by asexual binary fission, but the sexual reproduction is not well studied, it is still unknown. Okay? So how it happens, how it develops in the human. So when it gets infected, when this fly, it bites the man, it inoculates these parasites into the blood. Then the parasites are present here are metacyclic stage. They don't have flagellum. In the human blood, they become long, slender, it forms pre-flagellum. Then they multiply by binary fission. Later, it takes different forms via intermediate form. And then these parasites will develop into its number, okay, in the blood. Now they develop some symptoms, and the disease is called as Gambia fever. And when the parasites reach cerebrospinal fluid, they disturb the central nervous system. This causes sleeping sickness. Unlike malarial parasite, these do not enter the red blood cells, but it enters the cerebrospinal fluid. It remains only in the plasma, but not in the blood cell. And when it is present in the plasma, the body will develop antibodies against this parasite. They kill the parasites mostly. And here, because of this ability to produce the antibodies, this trypanosoma can live only for few like very short period of time, okay, and therefore it will change its antigens to survive. This is called parasitic adaptation for survival, okay. And so therefore it becomes difficult to develop vaccine also, because it is continuously changing its antigens, surface antigens, to protect itself from the host defense mechanism. So due to the action of host defense mechanism, number of parasites increases and decreases periodically. Got it? But its life cycle is only for small period of time. Then its intermediate host is Glossina, Glossina palpalis. Then another fly which is testifly. Excuse me. So how this develop in this fly? So when this fly bites the primary host, that is man, these forms enter into the fly, fly blade. And then again they undergo different developmental stages in the midgut of the fly. Okay, then by binary fission, longitudinal binary fission, it takes about 10 to 15 days in the fly blade. Then they move to the proventriculus, where they continue to multiply and they enter into the salivary glands of the fly. Again, from the salivary glands, where they form crythid, crythidial forms. Okay, they develop into the crythidial forms, and they finally develop into the trypanosome form. And again, when this fly bites the human beings, they enter into the human being. So this is the cycle. So this infective stage, the whole life cycle, it takes place for about 20 days. Okay. So the infection remains for 185 days maximum. Okay. So what is the pathogenicity? So what happens? So the symptoms of the sleeping sickness can cause, it can happen like for up to 1 year. I told you symptoms can appear in some stages, like I told you, based on the form of the sleeping sickness. So some will the symptoms appear slowly in one type of sleeping sickness, and it can appear quickly in other. Okay, so only after 2 weeks of infection the symptoms start. So it has three stages of this disease. First is the bite of the infected fly. So first it causes some itching and irritation. Any fly, if it bites, usually we get some itching and irritation. Then slowly a red button-like lesion is formed. Some enlargement is formed at that site. So it's very hard, painful nodule. It can remain for 1 week or 2 weeks. After few days, slowly the number of parasites increases in the blood, high fever, then recurring at regular intervals, like at regular times, then headache, anemia, weakness, enlarged glands, edema means enlargement, low resistance, all these are seen symptoms. And slowly they invade the cerebrospinal fluid of the brain and spinal cord, and the patient develops a feeling of oppression, like low, they feel low and loses consciousness, and finally they can go into coma if untreated, and then death. Okay, so these are the symptoms. So what are the preventive measures? So first is to destruct the habitat of the flies. Always this is common for all parasites and flies, intermediate host. So we have to keep the surroundings clean, dry, and all these things. Eliminate flies using insecticides. So we have to take the precautionary measures. So according to the continent, according to the place where this is spreading, so there we have to take the precautionary measures. But here the first three are disadvantages. One is, that is destruction of the habitat for the vector. That is, if we remove the bushes and low trees, and if you spray insecticide, and all these things. Again, that will affect the environment in a negative way. So we have to look for the alternatives like insecticides without any chemicals. Such kind of things has to be uh, developed. Okay, so this is about the trypanosoma. Now we'll continue with the next topic, that is porifera. So the phylum porifera, it comprises of sponges, which are multicellular animals, but very primitive. So excepting for a single family of freshwater sponges, all other are marine water or submerged substratum. They remain at the bottom of the water. Cycon is the calcareous, the sponge. That means it is made up of calcium, more results, with an internal skeleton composed of calcium carbonate spicules. Okay. So except this, all the others don't have any calcium carbonate. Okay. So what are the general characteristics? So it is phylum porifera. Porous means pores. Fera to bear. That means those who bear the pores. Sponges, sponge, how it will have small pores, right? So they mark their beginning during the initial stages of the evolution of multicellular animals. They have the group constitutes of plant-like animals. They are animals, but they are very primitive. That's why they look like or they behave like plants. Okay, they cannot move. Their body is organization is higher than the protozoa, but when compared to other metazoa, they are very simple and primitive. They don't have any well-defined tissues or organs. Okay, and later the studies of histology, cytology, and embryology, all of them studied these porifera, and they found that they belong to low level of organization. So they are called as porifera, that is initial ones, okay, primitive ones, also called as parazoa. Almost there are 9,000 species, of which 4,000 species are already extinct. Okay, they are not available now. So all these species, they have some common characteristics. One is they are all having aquatic lifestyle, okay, seawater, and attached to the substratum that is at the bottom. Only Spongilidae, that family belongs to the freshwater, but all other sponges are marine water. And the body shape is variable. They vary, like some are cylindrical, some are globular, some are irregular branches without any symmetry. And they are found as solitary animals and colonial forms. They exist as a colony, not individual, separate. And all the members are multicellular and diploblastic. That means they'll have only this ectoderm or endoderm, only two layers. Okay. Then outer layer, which is called dermal layer, like our skin, is called as pinacoderm, and the inner layer is called as flagellate, flagellated layer, which is called as choanoderm. Okay, and these flagellated cells are the characteristic features of this porifera. They are present only in the porifera. Then a gelatinous mesenchyma is present between these two layers, where amoeboid cells of different types are present, and it has a large number of pores, canals, and chambers. So for the movement of the water, because they're present in the water, right? And the numerous small openings called ostia are present in the body wall, and a large opening called osculum is also present. Then the central large cavity is called as spongocoel. Okay, that is the space present inside. And the body is supported by a skeleton which is made up of rods of spicules, and the spicules are made up of calcium or silica, and there is an elastic material which is called as sponge. Okay, and no organs for locomotion are present, hence they cannot move. They're sedentary. That's why they're called plant-like animals. Then there is no mouth or alimentary canal, and digestion is intracellular, and nutritional mode is holozoic, and no organs for respiration or excretion. Nervous system is absent. Response to stimuli is poor. Asexual reproduction is by budding, by some cell masses which are called genuinules. Okay. Then the sexual reproduction is by the production of eggs and sperm. And here the larva which is formed, it is free swimming, okay, which can again develop into the adults. And it is a great capacity of regeneration. They can regenerate themselves. And the skeletons are like the skeletons of these sponges are used for the washing and mopping by Greeks ancient. Okay, so these are all the general characteristics of the porifera phylum. So the phylum porifera comprises of three classes. They are Calcarea, Hexa, Hexactinellida, then Demospongia. So first is Calcarea. So this class consists of marine sponges. They are present in the marine water, especially in the shallow waters. Their skeleton has calcium, and the body is radially symmetrical, that is round. Then it is its surface is bristly and projecting spicules. You can see here the structure. So they are like first one, if you see, it is like spikes are present, like projections. Then asexual reproduction is by budding, and a free swimming larvae is present. So examples are Sycon, Grantia. So first one is the Sycon. So you can just remember one or two examples. Then second class is Hexactinellida. So they are present in the deep water at the depth of 300 feet to 3 miles. They are called glass sponges. And the skeleton is made up of silica. Okay. They form into the networks. The body walls don't have epidermal cells or mesenchymal matrix. And then the later is made up of pseudopodia. So what is pseudopodia? It is a false finger-like projection for the capturing of the food. Then the dermal layer is thin and mesoglea is thick. And the gastral cone, which is thin and with irregular opening, okay, which is called a spongiocele, which is the central portion of the cavity, inside the portion of the cavity. Then choanocytes are small, which lack contractile power, and the canal system is simple, and the asexual reproduction is by budding, and larva is called as sterogastrula. And there are some economically very important sponges like Hyalonema and Euplectella. So in Japan, this dried skeleton of this Euplectella is given as a marriage gift. And this Hyalonema is also, it is used as a decorative item. Okay, because it appears beautiful. Okay. Then third class is Demospongia. So Demospongia are mostly abundant, the most abundant, and 80% of them are present in this phylum. And the body is highly organized. They are mostly marine. Some are present in fresh waters also. Their body shape and color are variable. They can vary in different organisms. Skeleton, if present, they are made up of silica. Mesoglia is abundant with contractile fiber cells, which are called fibrocytes, which can contract. They have contractile power. Canal system is complicated. Choanocytes are small. Asexual reproduction is by internal buds, which are called as gemmules, and larva is called as sterogastrula. So examples are Spongilla, Cleona, and Calina. So these are the examples. So I will continue in the next class, okay, tomorrow, because my voice is actually not good. So I will continue this topic tomorrow, and also I will. So they asked about some important questions. So tomorrow
Yes,
I will discuss. Okay. Do you have any doubts?
no doubts. Actually, we need that important.
Okay. Okay. Tomorrow we will discuss. Okay.
Last class also you have not taken note.
Yeah. Last class my health was not good. So I'm
Yeah,
not.
now it is well.
Sorry.
Now how you're feeling, ma'am?
Yeah. Bitter, but my voice. I'm getting cough.
No, actually we have waited lot uh, last class.
Oh, okay. Okay. Are you informed?
Yes, ma'am.
I informed.
Important, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. Kishore sir. But
But nobody informed, ma'am.
sorry.
No one has informed, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Do you have any group or so where I can only now only two classes are there? No. I'll
Yes,
take
ma'am.
all the classes, remaining classes. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. But we need that like at least for passing marks important.
Yeah, yeah. I will just discuss the important questions tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.